In general, yes, I became more quiet.
Yes, yes, that is what we are
But,
seeking in the beginning.
but I remember you told me that I have chance to become so much quiet that I will hear the thoughts of others. So it should be very deep quietness inside.
Yes, it has to be very deep quietness. You
But
see,
in my case, my mind is still in dialogue. So I catch some situation, intellectually make the solving, like a contemplation that
yeah,
it's
yeah,
wrong. I have to be concentrated on the peace inside and continue to do something. So
yeah,
inside my mind still some talking or
yeah, yeah,
some moving.
yeah, yeah, let us see that. Just close your eyes and see. Eyes are closed and your body is comfortable and carefree. We are not just, anytime, anywhere. When you have uninvited guest, means unauthorized thoughts are coming to your mind, we should be aware, we should notice. That is very important. So, the moment you just do nothing and notice any thought is coming in, now see that whether the thoughts are coming or they are not there. Whether you have an unauthorized occupants or guest are entering the mind, so we remember, we become aware it is coming from the default mind, impulsive mind, habitual mind. So we awaken the discerning mind or discerning intellect. How? How simple it is. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. So the thoughts from the unauthorized, uninvited guest of thoughts are present, but you are moving to the discerning intellect, and the mind is your discerning intellect is saying, Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Then you repeat it 3 times. May there be happiness for all. May there be happiness for all. May there be happiness for all. Other thoughts are still there, but they have lost their power and intensity. If you are doing it rightly, if you are not doing it rightly, the uninvited guest of thoughts will not lose their power, it will become stronger, it will react. So, that is the state we have to check. And if that happens, discerning mind or discerning intellect recognizes, and you say it again. So you just casually and genuinely, with gentle and softness, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Again the thought comes, and you recognize, you notice, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Again the thought is there, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. So, what is going to happen? Your mind will recognize, because it is a discerning mind, thoughts are being repeated, and the repeat thought does not serve any purpose. It will lose their power, and you'll move into the peace. Sarvesham. And then you can move into the real meaning of Sarvesham. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. You can repeat, you can return. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. So it is an inner engineering. It is an inner technology working inside. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. And you have automatic, conditioned thinking, maybe anger, resentment, anxiety, worry, fear, that occupy the mind without your permission. Emotional habits, prejudices, old narratives, and ego-driven impulses. Let it be present. You are not fighting with them. You are simply saying, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. I am complete in myself. When I am complete in myself, why to worry? You can add any statement. So these are automatic conditioning, conditioned thinking. Any type of anger, resentment, anxiety, worry, fear are unauthorized. Why unauthorized? These thoughts and feelings enter, linger, dominate without conscious invitation. And they hijack my attention, energy, and a higher purpose. You rightly said, higher purpose. I'm looking for peace, and peace has nothing to do with the fear. You rightly pointed out. So now discerning intellect reflects here. There is an animal mind, person number one, animal-like presence. It has an animal-like presence, instinctual, no higher reflection. So this person number one is prone to automatic, primal functions, reactions. But in those moments, you are simply picking up, may there be peace for all, may there be happiness for all. So, baseline person number one, it is still not active, but it becomes active because of the person number three, which is the default mind, ego, learned response pattern, old habit. The mind is already hijacked by the uninvited or unauthorized occupants. Oh, that is the moment we have to be very, very vigilant, self-aware. How? First self-aware and then discerning intellect. Discerning intellect is unique to all human beings. What is self-awareness? What is self-awareness? I notice what is happening into my mind. Self-awareness, reasoning. I reason out what's happening in my mind. So you are rightly you are asking the questions internally. And then you replace it with the mantra, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Now your intellect is aware of the state of the happiness. At the same time, if other thoughts are there, no problem at all. Other thoughts are there, it's okay. We get upset, we get scared, we had a moment of anxiety. But I'm saying, in the presence of happiness, intensity drops down. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Peace, may there be peace for all. If there is a peace for all, peace is essential nature. Essential nature means permanent. So if the peace is the permanent, it means it is all pervading, it is always aware. This is the cognitive understanding, means by reasoning I understand peace is already there. So I have to repeat it. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Same four-liner mantra. Maybe again and again. One day you spend an hour repeating it again and again. Why? First, there is a cognitive understanding, reasoning. We put the reasoning and we understand peace, happiness are essential nature of everyone, including me. So when we repeat it, we find there is a cognitive change through the knowledge. Regular Mangalacharan brings mindful awareness to the background, reminding you of your deepest nature, not just a fleeting reaction. You become, it is that, you become aware of happiness as your essential nature. That is the cognitive change. Whereas anxiety, fear, they are incidental, temporary nature. So this understanding of temporary versus essential or permanent nature must settle in the mind. How? By repeat practice. There is no other way. By repeat practice. And what is practice? Practice, as I told you, listening and learning, contemplation and reflection, practice and experience, daily analysis, change in emotion, behavior, and attitude. That is the only at when, anytime. So the first is what I said, cognitive change. First is cognitive change through knowledge. So what is going to happen? That is the way you throw out anxiety, fear, duality, and conflict, which you did. Well, that is what you explained to me. Yes, that is the right approach. So don't worry. Don't worry, even if the mind says, thinking like this will change. Thinking like this will change me. Who says this? Default mind. Default mind returns with a force and it wants to oppose. It wants to oppose your journey, your practice, but you don't listen to it. You become aware, default mind has returned. So self-awareness, that is another way to say that it is the self-awareness you have. It is the self-awareness when you are doing may there be sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Whether you say happiness, peace, completeness, or spaciousness, you are just in self-awareness. So you are dissolving the default mind. So you are dissolving. Now sometime it will take time, or sometime it will happen. You are dissolving the default mind. Sometime it may take more time, and sometime it will happen. Sometime it will happen instantly. And then what happens? Then when there is a cognitive change, there is a change in your thought, speech, and action. Oh, there is a change in. We have to wait until the thought, speech, and action changes. But it doesn't mean that we should stop when it changes. No, it becomes a integral part of our life. Then what happens when you have a change in your thought, speech, and action? So you empower the discerning intellect. You empower the discerning intellect, then what it happens? Then the change in your behavior. What is the change in your personal life? You have more patience. You have less impulsivity. You have inner peace during challenging moments. Our default mind tries not to believe. So whenever you have that thought which says, don't believe, you do it twice. No, I will do it again. Let me do it again. Oh, mind, you are saying this, I will do it again. So when you do it again, what is going to happen? You will find thought, you change in the behavior, thought, speech, and action. So your thought process, what the fun of having anxiety and fear? Personal life, increased patience, less impulsivity, professional calm presence, thoughtful response, clarity in communication, social and the family. You have a greater empathy. You have less judgment. So you just repeat it if you remember all the 4 lines, let me help you. Sarvesham. Now you come to the deeper layer. So how you go deeper? Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Now you look, may there be happiness for all. Happiness for all, including me, happiness in situation, in relationship, in things during the day. Why happiness is my essential nature. Whatever the stress and suffering are, they are incidental and temporary nature. They come because of one situation or the situation. Okay, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Now the same thing, the peace is our essential nature. Essential nature cannot be undone. It is permanent. So when it is permanent, then so your intellect is staying there. So when intellect is staying there, then what happens? You have a cognitive change. Again, I'm repeating. Remember, never forget cognitive understanding, cognitive change. I'm using is step by step. Cognitive understanding. Good. And that brings the cognitive change. What is that cognitive change? That changes your, the cognitive change. I can add one more in the series. Cognitive change, the discerning intellect is awakened. So it moves to, where it moves? It moves to thought, speech, and action. It moves to right thought, speech, right, good, and proper. That is what your mind said. Proper thought, speech, and action. So then what happens? A change in behavior and attitude. Change in behavior and attitude. And change in behavior and attitude. Change in change in personal, professional, social, and family living, days after days. Because now the discerning intellect says, what is the fun of going into anxiety, fear, duality, reaction? What is the fun? That is what, even if you say the Mangalacharan practices, Sarvesham, any time of the day, Sarvesham, Shantir Bhavatu. You know, the formal education of engineering, becoming a doctor, becoming a plumber or mechanic, they are formal education, objective knowledge, and their study. The subjective knowledge in their study has to be done with listening and learning, contemplation, reflection, practice, and experience. So now question comes, when to practice? Obviously morning and evening while sitting, and during the day in all the active life. Where, anytime, anywhere, at home, at work, even in the transit. With whom you have to practice? Practice with everyone internally. You are practicing internally, no one is noticing. And then you analyze and reflect on it. And check that, do you feel the change? If you don't feel the change, you repeat it. Just use the Mangalacharan as a security guard, identifying, evicting, and denying entry to all unauthorized occupants of your mind. Oh, unoccupied, yes. And you check, you will find the mind getting absorbed deeper with it. That very absorption means that you are moving away from the default mind. And after that, if you feel, oh, it's a long mantra, Sarvesham Sustir Bhavatu. So you just look into this space and you can drop Shanti. Now the same practice can be done with eyes open. Because we did nothing as such, we recognize. It is all about a knowledge one. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences. It is just a play and a fun. Like the Hollywood actor playing the role of a criminal and then he has to shout. He doesn't say to the enemy, "Come on, dear darling, I will kill you." Expression is different. That is what the default mind is. So I recognize default mind, are you playing with me? I will play with you. And it is internal. Everything is internal. So the default mind versus the default intellect, from autopilot to the inner pilot. From the inner pilot. Inner pilot, no license is required. Default mind, you need a license. Our modern life runs on autopilot. I have to go to the office. No, I have yet to get this job done. Here is a contract. Here is this much. My wife is not working. She has lot of problem. She does not understand. My daughter is this, and my mom, and my business, and my country, and my. Do you see the problem of the default mind? The problem of the default mind, or you can say what is the default mind? Default mind has two factors. I explained to you delusion, etc. has two factors. Then only it creates problem. First is I, and that is your ego, and second is my. So anything that is my leads to attachment. Anything that I leads to delusion, and my leads to attachment, deep attachment, or jealousy, or aversion, etc. I and ahanta. We say in Eastern wisdom, ahanta and mamata. Mamata means obviously the attachment. That is the work of the default mind. And because it works with the ego and the ahanta and mamata, so that is why it is constantly working based on the past impression. Prarabdha, past impression. No, I did not think about my money in the bank account since morning. This is what the default mind says. Oh, by thinking you will get $1 billion into your account? Try it. Do you see I and my? I and my creates this, or you can use the word false I, and my creates default mind, and this default mind, this DM is always active. Always active, habitually. That is why we say habitually impulsive. That is why we say habitually and impulsively. Habitually and impulsively. Default one. A discerning mind simply recognizes, come on, where is I and where is my? Discerning means separate. I told you, discerning mind, or I'm using the discerning intellect, the DI. So DI simply separates I from the rest of the world, and also separates the objects from the attachment, and objects from, whether you say attachment, whether you say aversion. It is the discerning intellect, knowledge. DI is basically, it is knowledge. It leads to knowledge. Leads to knowledge by reasoning, and that reasoning is known as cognitive understanding. It's not a rocket science. Eastern wisdom is very simple. We don't apply the common sense, then we become nonsense. That is the problem. So, cognitive understanding, and then what I told you, if you continue cognitive understanding leads to the cognitive change. What do you mean by this cognitive change? If you want to pay more attention on this, what does it mean by the cognitive change? I recognize that this anxiety is false. I recognize that this anxiety has no value. That is cognitive understanding. So, what is cognitive change? Should I be into anxiety? No. That is the change. The change comes naturally. I need not to work on it. Eastern wisdom says knowledge. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. You already know it. You have repeated 1,000,000 times without understanding.
I understand that cognitive change, it means that you start to act.
Yes.
From the correct knowledge.
Yes. Yes.
And cognitive understanding, it's just you know what is correct.
Yeah. By cognitive understanding, you know. How you know? By reasoning. But what happens? The default mind hijacks the intellect. It says anxiety is right, reaction is right. What should I do when I step into my office? I have a lot of challenges. I don't have that much of money. Really? Default mind? Is your reasoning right? So the moment you challenge, cognitive change is there. But it doesn't mean that you are not working. It doesn't mean that you are not concerned. It doesn't mean that you are on the traffic and you say, I will override the traffic. Let me see what happens. No, you are doing wrong.
It means that internally you, at any moment, you are ready to leave office.
Internally, you are ready to drop unauthorized occupants of your mind. That is the meaning. False to real asatoma satgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya. So you stop chasing peace outside. That is another meaning. You stop chasing peace or happiness outside. It is inside. Just like you lose your parking spot, minor chaos is there. You are looking for glasses and you get upset. All our Upanishads and the Gita says peace is the essence of yourself. External events only trigger what is already inside. Neuroscience also says happiness isn't where you are, but how your mind frames it. Look at it, how. So I just look my mind objectively. Is it default mind? Is it the discerning intellect? Remember, these are not two minds. They only one mind, two types of content. My nature is peace. Peace is my essential nature. I am anxiety. I'm angry over you because you did something wrong to me. That is why I am not in peace. Default mind. Thoughts. It is the thought. People don't believe it. I'm into anxiety. This is also a thought. We did it in the poise method. I don't recognize it. So if you don't recognize I'm into anxiety, then also don't recognize this thought I'm in peace. Simply recognize you are in peace. Common sense. I'm again saying it's a common sense. It's not a rocket science. It's not that you need to take admission into the Harvard so your IQ should be over 160 or 200. No, you don't need that. Kabir was totally illiterate. My master was illiterate. After enlightenment, he learned how to sign the papers. We taught him like a 5-year or 6-year-old boy. We told him this is A, draw A. Two seekers, two seekers walk into the bar. Seeker in waiting and seeker treading the path. I told you last time, seeker in waiting. Oh, I have lot of anxiety what to do. You forget everything what you have done hundred of times. Seeker in waiting. Seeker treading the path recognizes my goal is peace and happiness and that is within me. I need to awaken to that. Let me continue the practice. If you have gone to the gym, you recognize that there are a group of people who show their muscles and that is why they go to the gym. Others are very serious. They are not at all concerned about the entire group. They focus on that how to build the muscles. Seeker in waiting and the real seeker. That is the approach. Default mind. So now it is not their fault. It is their default mind is doing this. Who wants to show the muscles? Their mind is outside. That is the difference between the default mind and the discerning intellect. May there be happiness for all. May there be happiness for all, including with whom my mind has an element of hatred and jealousy and attachment and duality in it. May there be happiness. It is good that you sit every day for a few minutes with whom you hate and you start, may there be happiness for him and for me also, for him and for me. Until you find the default mind has removed that element of jealousy. It is for my benefit. I'm not thinking of anyone else. I'm thinking of others because I want to remove that pattern of default mind. It is mental housekeeping. Neuroscience says repeated focus means repeated chanting of the mantra rewires the brain. Your mind is like a big celebration. Make sure you don't invite anxiety and anger. They are not on your guest list. I am hungry, and hunger makes me reactive and crazy. default mind. Discerning mind says, oh, hunger is there, I will eat, and let me eat what is giving me energy, not my preference. In any cases, more and more you use the thought process, it happens. So the teachers in the Eastern wisdom helps us to diagnose, helps the seeker to diagnose the problem. When you diagnose the problem, you recognize the problem is inside, not outside. The problem is I and my. Teacher helps us to realignment. Teacher. So what the teacher does, based on the teaching of the Eastern wisdom, why don't you move from the false to the real? Why don't you move from the ignorance to wisdom? Why don't you move? Realignment. You are aligned to the false, now you are aligned to the real. But the prescription is very important. Prescription is listening, learning, contemplation, reflection, practice, experience, applying the wisdom, daily analysis, and checking change in emotion, behavior, and attitude every day. Every day you change. You move to the next step. That is the prescription. And if you don't follow the prescription, or you forget it, or you try to apply your way means I and my way, ego and mind. We have not to do that. As long as we become a firm, complete, higher seeker, we need not to follow. We have to follow what the masters have been saying. Listening, learning, I told you again, listening, learning, contemplation, reflection, practice and experience, applying the wisdom, and daily analysis, and then checking if you change your emotion, behavior, and attitude. So the hidden practice is karma yoga, nitya karma, duty versus responsibility also. That is also included here. It takes time when we follow the right approach. So you have a pinpoint motivation. You shift your perspective of life. That rightly you did it. That okay, no, I have to do more with the piece. What I have to do with this? Right. Default mind will force you to think. What it thinks? Oh no, you have to think about the money, otherwise money will not come. Really? You sit down, think rightly. Here is a project. This is what I am going to work. This will take this much of time and expected income. Reasoning. But default mind does not bring the reasoning. What will happen? How it will happen? There is nothing. So that is shifting your perspective. You are consistent. You are consistent, you are regular, you are consistent, you are regular. And now, say for example, on a given day, the default mind returns 50 times. Now, by consistency and regular practice, you see the discerning intellect returns 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 25 times, 100 times. Finished. You are a seeker. The real journey begins from there. Gita says, are you happy with yourself? You have a very high level of discerning intellect. You are not attached to anything. Are you happy with yourself?
But it's not correct question.
Because happiness is our essential nature, that is the highest level. In the beginning, when we are becoming, when we are treating the path, I will ask, am I happy with myself? Happy with myself. From there, am I happy? Let me see, am I happy? Now, if I get this much, I will be happy. If my honey talks like this, so I get rid of those I and my thoughts, default mind thoughts. I have to get rid of those thoughts. That in the beginning, we have to say, am I happy with? So then, or we can use, may there be peace for all, may there be happiness for all. Autopilot, no more. Inner pilot of discerning intellect, always yes. Peace and happiness are an inside job. Peace and happiness. Once this is settled in the mind, the discerning intellect, you have a cognitive change all the time. Peace and happiness are an inside job, including love. You can add peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. Are inside job. They are not out in. They are not. They are not outside. So I said myself, default mind stays outside event situation. Discerning intellect recognizes and says no. It cannot be possible. You dissolve it. How frequently you do it, with what intensity you do it, with what awareness you do it, that will make a difference. It can happen in a fraction of a second. That is what I said. Seeker in waiting will take very, very long time. May take couple of days. Yes, oh yeah, I remember. So there's psychotherapist from New Jersey. She is attending my group session. So she was saying, you look at the beauty of asking the question. It appears right, but it is basically a wrong question. She said, okay, if I go on repeating, may there be happiness for all, but still my anxiety and reaction remains, what should I do? It appears the right question, but it's a wrong question. When I said happiness is within me, intellect says, intellect pushes the mind. Why you are in anxiety? Because you are seeking happiness outside. It is subconscious habit. You use your conscious thought that happiness is within me. There is no anxiety and reaction at all. But still you are asking this question, so that is why you fall short of your experience. You are not experiences, it is only an intellectual query. So, what to recognize? Your default mind is rationalizing it without experiencing it. That is why you say, if then, if there is no if and but. Happiness is me. Finished. Where is the if and but? Or if happiness is not me, then the default mind is searching it outside. Did you understand? I asked her. Ah, yes. Both answer works. Yes, both answer works. Get angry now. It is not possible. Get agitated now. Not possible. Why? It is incidental nature. Be in peace. Yes, I am already in peace. It is possible. My master used to say, persistence beats the resistance and reaction. Consistency, consistency, regularity, you don't leave it. The way you did last time, every time you remember. Yes. So, not during the day, but also in the morning and evening. When persist, just keep on doing it, and when you do it, you remember, you reach to that, stage. When army does, when an army man or army captain or a major fights the war, kills a lot of people, returns, and he gets a prize by the president or prime minister. Peace and happiness are not the prize that can be distributed like this. I have to discover within myself. Persistent practice, discernment, willingness to look inside, whether you are stuck in a traffic or you are stuck with the old habit or whether you have challenges in your business. Find new ways. What can I be doing? New ways. I like the approach, where the Prime Minister Modi did not react to the tariff. He doesn't respond. Simple. He stopped responding and he appealed to the Indians that why don't you buy local? And there is a 9% increase in the growth. He had done yoga and meditation and he learned from one realized master. I say Swami, he's no more. Swami, yes, some Swami. He's learned for more than 12 years. He is applying that in a political life. Upanishad says, I am satisfied in my own self alone. I am satisfied. Satisfied means there, there is no there is no reason to be satisfied with anything in the world outside. I need not to say to my honey or my daughter, but internally I am happy. Internally I am happy. Because when I claim that, I am happy within myself, do whatever you want to do, get lost. Then I am reacting. My default mind is working. So I have need not to say, one guy, one couple, 20 years back, I told, I taught him the same way. He went to the house and he told his wife, no, I don't need you. I am happy with myself. The next day his wife called me. He said, this is what he is saying.
In our language, there is two translation of Purnam. It's one, it's like English completeness, but other one is perfect. You are perfect.
Completeness indicates perfection. Perfection indicates completeness. Perfection means that no change. It is permanent. So whether you say it is permanent happiness or peace, whether you say it is wholeness, whether you say perfection. So in many Upanishads they talk of perfection, in other they talk of wholeness or completeness. That's a way the master explains differently. Primary function of the default mind is automatic, conditioned reaction, anger, fear, worry. Primary function of the you can say the discerning intellect is conscious. What it is? It is conscious chosen responses. I choose through the conscious responses. See that? Using reason and self-awareness, a faculty unique to the human beings. So it means I am just acting like a human being. It's not a big deal, I told you. I told you again and again that it is all about being a human. A parrot that repeats what it hears, especially complaints, and a skilled pilot who consciously navigates the challenges. Skilled pilot, I'm using the reason. Discernment, that is discerning intellect. And a parrot repeats the same thing again and again. I don't want to talk to you. Why? Because you insulted me last year on this day. Oh, you still remember. And you don't remember the peace during that period. So default mind means that you are hijacked by the habits, I and my, ego-driven impulses, old narratives. Strengthened discerning intellect, you are strengthened by clarity, capable of evicting patterns that don't serve you. So the same thing which I told you, what I told you, that what we discussed, the coordinative understanding, coordinative change, behavior and attitude change. The behavior and attitude change means what? The way I think and speak and act with you and I relate to you changes. That is what the thought and feeling is changes. This is what is changing. Oh yes. I so and then change in behavior, then change in thought process, thought, speech and action. When there is a change in thought, speech and action, there is a change in personal, professional and social life. When there is a change in personal, professional and social life, the life takes an about time. You have changed. You have become a seeker. Now we are ready to treat the higher journey. So sometimes we get caught in the ritual and the mind overlooks because ritual with a reason is what the Eastern wisdom is. Any ritual, it has to have a reason. If it does not have a reason, better not practice until you are convinced